AskReddit by Bewildered Forks. What widely accepted Reddit tropes are just not true in your experience? Honestly, I think people on here think that people are a la ruder and worse than they are. It can be scary to be gay when all you've heard is Redditors telling you that hate crimes happen to 110% of all gay people everywhere and you'll be murdered by every person wearing a cross necklace. Legit kept me closeted. Toxic behavior. You don't owe anybody anything, I mean that's true, but good luck finding someone to help you move a couch when you ignore their invites to hang out. The art of final judgment can be wrong. Writing skills and spinning the story are the prime factors in determining who is the asshole, sadly. If you visit UK subreddits, you'd be forgiven for thinking the whole country is full of antisocial people who hate their colleagues and are scared of the slightest confrontation. In reality, most of us are pretty normal. I enjoy the difference between some of the UK subs, it is like they are from different planets. I'm a dad that does plenty of stuff with my kids without my wife around. I've never gotten a sideways look or rude comment for being on a playground around kids or saying hi to a child nearby. I've been a stay-at-home dad for 12 years now. It is much better now than it was then. I did get weird looks, and once had a mom come and take her daughter away from where I was standing watching my son on the playground. I've been called MR. Mom, and I've heard the old "so you're babysitting today" more times than I can remember. But I don't hear those things much now, and I see many more dads out with their kids compared to when I started doing this. I've even spotted a few stay-at-home dads on TV or movies. The times they are a-changing. You don't have to divorce your wife if she bought a $200 laptop without consulting you first. I once did an Aramithesol question. My wife and I has a disagreement on if a certain word was normal to us. The word was viscous. People kept telling us we should get divorced and that my wife was insecure. I tried to tell them it wasn't a serious fight, more of a teasing each other thing. That didn't change their minds at all. You could easily tell who was most likely never in a meaningful relationship. It was pretty sad how many people feel that way. That more upvotes means that comment is more valid than others. I've noticed a lot of the time it's just who commented first. Someone else will say the exact same thing the next day and get a bunch of downvotes. Spend any amount of time on a dating or relationship sub and you'd think the average man and woman are just seething with hatred toward each other. Maybe I just have an exceptional group of friends from both sides, but thankfully that doesn't represent my reality. People who are successful in dating relationships don't hang out in dating relationships subreddits. Just because someone lies to you, it doesn't mean that they are gaslighting you. Gaslighting is different than just lying, and it's used in abusive, controlling situations by manipulative people. Bob from accounting, who denied eating an extra piece of cake, isn't a dangerous man who is gaslighting everyone in the office. He just likes cake. This also extends to misremembering. Towards the end of my long relationship, my ex fell in with a bunch of people who assumed everything was gaslighting. So if I forgot I had a meeting that'd make me run a little late, it's apparently gaslighting. Online communities just pick up words and throw them about without knowing the meaning, and it's legitimately damaging. I've got a twofer. Mental illness is either super easy to fix with healthy lifestyle, or it's terminally crippling and kills you entirely. Many of us are out there doing it alright but still just struggling coping. As someone who previously struggled and tried to help someone else who struggled, there really is no magic bullet. Diet, exercise, sunlight is not a cure-all. Therapy is not a cure-all. Medication is not a cure-all. If you are depressed though, there is going to be some solution, but that can be different for different people. You have to start somewhere though. That if someone yells at you or loses their temper once, they are a violent person who can never change. Or someone constantly gets pushed into a corner and finally gets angry, so they are showing their true colors. Infuriating. Everyone's being gaslit. I think you're just imagining that. Best of Reddit is not usually the best of Reddit. In real life, when people ask what your job is in conversation, they're usually not doing it to gauge how much respect they should give you or how rich you are or anything like that. They're just trying to see what you're interested in so they have something to talk to you about. Also, they probably don't care. It's just an easy icebreaker question to fill the silence. Not everyone you don't get along with is a narcissist. Sometimes you just don't get along. I also don't hear that term thrown around so casually in real life. Similarly, not every instance of lying or being incorrect is gaslighting. Not everything is an ADHD symptom. Oh, you have a problem in your relationship? Better break up. Oh, you're a night owl and your wife is an early bird? You're fundamentally incompatible. Break up. I understand Redditors warning other Redditors that they are in an abusive relationship, but a lot of the time problems can be fixed. That empty shops selling actual stuff are all probably money laundering fronts. Edit. Many replies to this are kinda proving my point. In my town there is a wig and curtain store. All I can guess is that if you're looking for a low quality wig, curtains will naturally be your next purchase. No, that person did not deserve to be shot, beat up, left homeless, cheated on, etc. 99% of the time. People fuck up. It's part of being human and not every mistake requires a life-altering punishment. Reddit. The US justice system is broken and needs to be reformed to be less punitive and more rehabilitative. Reddit. When a crime story is posted, feed the culprit his own innards. That Reddit is a place for intellectual discourse when really it's a place for echo chambers and circle jerking. I used to learn a lot more on Reddit. I still learn new stuff, but you have to wade through many more jokes, reposts, shitposts. I constantly add remove subs to try and find more quiet and balanced communities, but it takes more effort than it once did. That going to a trade school sets you up to automatically make six figures in a couple of years. As someone in the trades, most of us are laughably far away from making six figures. However, it can be an extremely rewarding job if it's your thing. I'm making about $37K before taxes right now. Just finished electrical school. I've made more in offices before, but I like my job now a lot better than I like the desk work, so I'm happier. That when you hit 30, your body just completely falls apart, your back hurts all the time, your knees disintegrate and your dick stops working. I'm in my 30s and I'm in the best shape of my life. A lot of people on Reddit lead sedentary lives. If you exercise even a little you should be fine. That Redditors are all virgins living in their parents' basement. I happen to live in my parents' attic. If you have a plant and window up there, and the rafters are exposed, it qualifies in our closet places. That's one trope that bothers me. Deleted. Tell that to my Tinder matches. Buy it for life. Would have you believe that unless you shell out good money for every last thing you own, you're bound to regret it once the cheaper option inevitably fails on you within a ridiculously short period of time. Let me tell you all something. There is no need to buy a $50 water bottle instead of a $10 one unless your preferred method of handling is to drag it across asphalt to and from work daily. There is also no need to drop $300 $400 on a pair of RERL leather work boots unless your work actually requires it. Deleted. Taco Bell leading to immediate diarrhea. I haven't had it in years but used to have it semi-regular. Not once had it led me to gastrointestinal distress. So either Redditors have really delicate constitutions or Taco Bell equals blowing mud is just lazy humor for the collective. I'm an Englishman with vibes. When I was in California I went to Taco Bell. If there's anyone it should fuck up it's a foreigner unused to the local food and water with a dodgy gut. I was fine. There aren't nearly that many people who have had threesomes, nor have there been anywhere near the amount of times people came close to one. I almost had one. Just needed 2 more people. Not everyone rather die than small talk with their co-workers. Believe it or not, most people love their kids and don't regret having them. I don't get the hate on small talk. Sure, if you're still exchanging pleasantries after an hour of conversation, that is frustrating, but small talk is an entry point for most people to deeper conversation and to fill out someone's personality. This site loves the word narcissist so much, it no longer means anything. It isn't inevitable or normal for you to be pulling muscles and having pains doing simple shit in your 30s. You're not getting old, you got sedentary. On a similar note, any post which depicts or describes a back injury of any kind usually has lots of comments about how it's guaranteed that the person will suffer pain for the rest of their life because of it. Of course they might, but there are plenty of us who've successfully recovered and rehabilitated from broken backs. It's far from unknown. Alright, I'll say it. A banana doesn't really give me a very accurate sense of scale. Bananas can come in so many shapes and sizes. I think that initially was the point. Banana for scale was a dumb joke since it's such an arbitrary unit of measurement. Only now we are so many layers removed from the origin that people have been treating it seriously for years. That therapy is the answer to all questions and problems. Yes, therapy can help. But most of the time simple thinking and communicating get you all the way. Furthermore, therapy is not easily available in large parts of the world, even in Western societies like Germany. Also, not all therapy is created equal. It takes time and money to find a therapist that works for you and is taking new patients. Not all therapists are good, and even if you do find a good one, they may not offer or specialize in what you need. Even after all of that, therapy takes a lot of work on your part. You have to want to put in the effort to make changes to get better, and not everyone who needs help is in a good mental state to even start trying to do that or acknowledge they have a problem. You don't just walk in, talk about your problems, cry about it while the therapist gives some enlightening revelation about your childhood, and suddenly leave all better. It's ongoing work even in the best circumstances. That you can't have a reasonable back and forth with people you disagree with. The worst part about Reddit, and its greatest flaw, is the karma system. A lot of people don't grasp that you can just have a discussion and run its course. Because you're allocated points, there's some aspect of winning involved. But human conversation doesn't work like that. There doesn't need to be a final tally of the scores, and you don't have to determine whether there was a winner or a loser. That the answer to everything is worst case scenario. Break up. Never speak to them again. Cut all ties. Slow down there, Seabiscuit. Let's try some solutions first before setting fire to everything. To add to that, if you want people on this site to believe you about something, you should always jump to the most negative option available. You can be completely wrong about something, but if you add a stereotype to it and sprinkle some vitriol on top, you'll have 100 replies and 2k points. Not one time in 39 years of life has a woman give me a hard time for opening a door for her. Not one time in 39 years have I so much as gotten the side eye for interacting with kids in public without a woman near me. I'm a father, and when I go to the playground, the parents are usually 50% men. I'm a short dude, and have literally never had problems with dating or finding partners whatsoever. Reddit makes it seem like if you're a short guy you are somehow unable to be found attractive, especially not by women who would generally be considered beautiful keepers, but that's not been my experience at all. I agree. I'm a 5 feet 5 inches dude, and it stopped being a problem for me the instant I stopped worrying about it. Eater, the only reason there are any short men on Earth is because of a long line of short dudes before them who all managed to get laid. If your ancestors could, So can you. If a fast food chain gives you the shits every time you eat it, you probably have some sort of digestive issue or sensitivity. That every relationship related post is immediately taken over by people who only ever advise the OP to break up with their partner with zero nuance. Post visibility is determined by upvotes. Of course you'll end up seeing the most egregious examples of dysfunctionality unless you sort by new. Same with most other similar subreddits. I feel like a lot of this stereotype comes from people disagreeing with the dump him advice, which is a wholly different topic, although one with potentially interesting insights as to people's various sensitivity to bad domestic situations. It also gets skewed by people who've obviously already feel like they should break up with their but post to Reddit just to get confirmation, make sure they're not being unreasonable. So those posts tend to get a lot of course you should leave them responses. Every man who so much as looks at a child is constantly attacked and harassed for being a pedophile. In reality, most people don't give a shit. I've almost experienced the complete opposite. A man that treats children well and is good around children often garner a lot of positive attention. That every animal GIF posted has some expert Reddit veterinarian either telling you, from a 5-second GIF, you are a disastrous pet owner and should never be allowed near pets. That all of Reddit is toxic. There are plenty supportive subs that give good advice. And the hobby subs can be pretty understanding with newbies. The bigger the sub, the worse it gets. Our Ask Men has regular posts about how a father can never go out to a restaurant, shopping or a park with his own biological children, or women are just going to walk up to him and bully the guy for babysitting, or that they are even going to call the police and frame the guy as a child molester. If you make the mistake of saying I'm in my 30s and I have never seen this happen to any dad in my entire life, they will downvote you, accuse you of blaming the victim, and swear that something like this actually happened to a friend of a friend. Cunt is, in fact, still considered a very offensive word in Australia. Only use it for high impact, or among very close friends. Interesting. I knew a Scottish guy who was studying in the US and he'd get drunk and throw cunt around casually and not notice the whole bar or party was suddenly quiet.